The top stories. Bedlam as Sandals job fair opens to the public. The BLP calls for Ronald Jones to go. And another world champion signs up for Bushy Park. Welcome to Nation News for Tuesday, October the 7th, 2014.
No matter where you are in the world, at home or abroad, Nation News keeps you connected with what's happening in Barbados through our website, video newscast, and online e-papers. So stay connected with Nation News. Your time, your way.
It was a job fair like no other, triggering chaotic scenes with an estimated 5,000 people turning up as Sandals began its public search to fill 600 jobs at its new Barbados resort. From as early as 5:30, job hunters converged at the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Centre. Tempers flared when some later arrivals surged to the head of the long winding queue, which spilled over onto the road at 2 Mile Hill. Police had to be called in to restore order. Perhaps it was the stress of the occasion that led to a few people fainting in the heat, while others were reported to have suffered asthma attacks. At about 11:30, amid the confusion, a representative of the Sandyford Centre announced that the fair was being closed hours ahead of schedule. However, that decision was quickly rescinded, with security opting to allow an estimated 20 job applicants into the building at intervals. In any case, the fair ended early, with only about 1,000 people being interviewed. It is scheduled to continue for the rest of the week, however, with interviews for different departments each day. The Barbados Labour Party's spokesman on education has called for Education Minister Ronald Jones to resign or be fired. Edwin Hinkson, the MP for St. James North, told a news conference that Mr. Jones had mishandled the introduction of tuition fees at the University of the West Indies. There continues to be uncertainty as to when promised grants to students at KFIL will be paid. The Sun reported 2 days ago that the Ministry of Finance had rejected the Education Ministry's request for funding, which will now have to be sourced from within the education budget. The Barbados Workers' Union has called on CARICOM governments to move swiftly to allow the free movement of domestic workers and artisans around the region. General Secretary Tony Moore said artisans and domestic workers had been added to the list of eligible workers under the CSME, but governments had been slow to put the administrative procedures in place. Ms. Moore made the comments as the union marked the World Day for Decent Work. Othniel Kelman has achieved his dream of taking charge of a flight to his native Barbados. The Bajan pilot touched down at the Grant Lee Adams International Airport just before 1 o'clock, the realization of the second part of the dream he fashioned 33 years ago. Then Mr. Kelman declared his career choice to his parents, Othniel and Margaret, at age 4, and the first part of it was achieved 19 years ago. The next step was to captain a flight to Barbados. Job done. His radiant smile on landing was mirrored by his parents, who met him at the airport, and wife Lizette, who took the flight down with him. Next is Carol Martindale with our weekly commentary.
Sometimes you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. This saying is true in a wide range of situations, but it is especially important when seeking employment. You usually get only a few minutes to impress a potential employer. It is not surprising that a large crowd turned up at the Sandals Barbados job fair today. Thousands have been laid off in both the public and private sectors over the past few months, and unemployment benefits are running out for many. People are desperate for jobs so they can provide for themselves and their families. But behavior like this morning's reported pushing and fighting is unlikely to help them in their job search. Employers want workers who can keep their cool in high-pressure situations and maintain a high level of decorum at all times. Let's hope the behavior is better tomorrow and that all job seekers strive to make the best first impression possible.
In sport, newly crowned World Rallycross champion Peter Solberg is the latest confirmed starter for December's Global Race of Champions at Bushy Park. It will be his first appearance at the end-of-year event for the Norwegian driver since 2007. He will be joining an already star-studded lineup with champion drivers from across the world. And finally, a British woman who stole more than $1 million from her employer over the course of 7 years expected to die of cancer before she got caught. Bournemouth Crown Court heard that 61-year-old Shirley Player admitted to transferring the funds to personal accounts while working for Allen and Bath estate agents and cooking the books to cover her tracks. The prosecutor said the grandmother's stealing was inspired by her cancer diagnosis. Her defense attorney said his client sought to do something for her family as she thought she was not going to be here much longer. However, she has now been declared free of cancer, and the judge sentenced her to 4 years in jail. That's Nation News for Tuesday. For more, visit nationnews.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And get your Midweek Nation on Wednesday.